man on first down. Fires wide. Juan Daniels, touchdown, Georgia.
This is your favorite receiver, Juan Daniels, and you're listening to the DGD podcast with my man, Robert Reynolds. Go Dawgs!
Welcome to this Friday edition of the DGD podcast. As always, the NCDGD himself, Robert Reynolds. Look, guys, the chain's out. I forgot to do it yesterday, but we're going to start by talking about two commitments in two respective classes, by that matter as well. We're going to talk about the commitments of Julian Humphrey for the 2022 class and Raymond Cottrell for the 23 cycle. You know, both of those guys, this is what makes this even better. Both guys, Florida D commits, and then flip over to the Georgia Bulldogs, right? In my opinion, I'm all for it. All for it. I think we've already seen on social media Julian Humphrey, probably one of the most vocal recruiters in this class, and he just joins the class. So he's already doing his due diligence. There's some names he's trying to bring in. Obviously, another one being Shamar James, another Florida decommit that he's trying to get over to the Dawgs, along with a friend he's close with, and that's Evan Stewart. And I think you need to know who that is if you don't. 5-star receiver for this 2022 cycle. So a lot to talk about there. That is why the chain is out. But first, let's go ahead and get started talking about our guys at Lots of Rain, right? Sponsor the show. Lots of Rain watches, have sunglasses, accessories, things like that. Look, great stuff. Rocking the Compass today. Rocking the Compass right now. Look, use code DGD at checkout and you get 10% off of your purchase, regardless of the price. So, looking into that right there, it's a great, like I said, great quality, affordable prices. Lots of Rain watches. That's la-terrain, TOURAINE.com. Go podcast.com. Find them, check them out. You'll love the products. I promise you that. But first, look, tomorrow, guys, noon kickoff. I think it's on ESPN Plus. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be interesting to see. I want to see another shutout. And we're talking about the Charleston Southern Buccaneers coming into Athens. What's going to be a blowout. There's no question about it. Obviously, we're going to do a little preview. The co-host, Mr. Daniels, is currently occupied. He may make an appearance later on in the show. We'll have to find out, though. We'll see. But I want to transition over into Charleston Southern. Obviously, FCS school really, in my opinion, should not be a threat to Georgia whatsoever. Not so whatsoever. Should not be a problem. However, you don't want to underestimate them at all. And, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a huge game. There's not really a lot to talk about, right? Georgia's going to dominate. I think you're going to see Georgia use this time to get guys healthy, right? I think there's no rush in putting these guys back in after playing Tennessee. Look at guys like Devontae White. You might see him ready to go. Sawyer might come back this week. Honestly, I think you take this week to, hunker down on the X's and O's and really get your right personnel for what it's worth as well. Looking at guys like Xavier Truss, does he take the reins at the right guard position? In my opinion, I think he should. At least more looks with his performance at Tennessee. And so you're going to see these questions pop up. And let's be honest, I think they're merited questions. Guys, we're injured, right? We've seen a lot of injuries, especially last week with the flu bug. We don't know how that's looking right now. There's a lot to, sit here and, look around. But nonetheless, I think Georgia's going to manhandle this game. It's going to be ugly. Definitely going to be ugly. But nonetheless, also looking into it, definitely think that I think you're going to see multiple quarterbacks. I think Stetson Bennett can be the starter. That's fine. I don't care. At this point, I trust Kirby Smart and what he wants to do with the quarterback situation as long as we're winning games. And so far, we have done nothing to show me otherwise. in regards to losing winning a close game. So all of them's been kind of blowouts, and if you want to look at it that way. I do expect JT to get significant playing time. You could honestly even see Carson Beck could get some snaps, I hope. And honestly, this will probably be a game where you see Brock Vandegrift, quarterback of the future. So maybe that's something we could sit there and, see. I think we will. I think, with Kendall Milton, I don't see him coming back this week. So, utilize Cook and Zeus and everything. But I think Kenny McIntosh could be primed for a breakout. I think it's perfect timing for it. Do you rest guys like that? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't see Zeus and James Cook being banged up. There's just a lot to think about when it comes to a game like this, especially the cupcake style game. You're looking at, tight end, right? Tight end. Everybody loves what Brock Bowers has done, how Kirby's using him. I think it's time to get Darnell some touches as well. He's been great in the blocking department, but I want to see him get more catches and get utilized. I wouldn't say the same way that you would see Bowers, but I definitely want to get him some touches as well. Also looking at guys like Blaylock in the receiving corps, right? You look at Blaylock had the potential to come in last week, never did, I don't believe. Maybe this is a game you get him some reps and get his feet wet, right? I think that's very a possibility as well too. There's just a lot going on with this kind of game, in all honesty. So there's so much to sit here and kind of ponder about, pontificate on. Ultimately, though, I do think you're going to see Kirby rotate guys in and out at will. There's no question about it. You're going to see your backups. There's no question. Probably even as early as the second half, and I mean potentially stick around. The talent level is just that far of a gap. Let's see. Looking at the brigade is silent today. Oh boy. Looking at this right here, though, I think you also have to look at an interesting fact for me. I have a little bit of a connection with Charleston Southern, being when I was from the military. So one of my cool stories, being where I lived before I got out and everything when I was stationed there, not even like a mile or two away from the campus. And I'll tell you what, it's a nice campus. It's a very nice campus. Kind of small, but nice campus. I'm telling you now, I'm going to give a shout out to Cook out here. Everybody that talks to me offline understands how big of an advocate I am for that chain. And Cookout, I'm telling you now, I was so glad to see Charleston get one when I was in the military. They had one walking distance from the stadium. Man, oh man, oh man. Loved it. But nonetheless, look, I'm just telling you right now, guys, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. If I have to give a prediction, I'm gonna, Vegas refused to put a line out for this. That is telling. That's just completely telling. Vegas is done with Georgia and costing them money. Sorry, guys, you shouldn't raise the bet. I don't do too much betting, but it's funny to hear that. But obviously, I think you look at a score like, I don't know, 60. I would say 63. 63-0. I don't think they score a point. I just don't see it. I got 63-0. Get guys some reps and stay healthy. Go get ready for the Nerds in Atlanta. That's all I'm going to say there. But we're going to take a quick break, and then on the flip side, we're going to talk some recruiting and what's going on with the state of Georgia program. So be right back after this quick break.
They say every watch tells a story. Family, moments, lifetimes. With La Touraine, this is a watch that spans generations, not just from where it came from, but for where it will go. Knowing one of these, having one of these, is what being a professional, being casual, and being you is all about. From our family to yours, La Touraine.
Welcome back. As we come back from the break, obviously we want to talk a little bit about recruiting. But before that, see the brigade starting to pop in. Facebook user, I have no clue who you are. Use the Restream link in the description. Follow that, allow Restream access so that I can see who you are and we can talk accordingly. But nonetheless, starters should get the first quarter. And you know what? I think that's the case. And I look at this game kind of similar to what happened to UAB, where you see it jump up 35-0 in a blink of an eye. I think that's going to be the same thing, if not worse. Jermaine King calls his prediction 56-0. Kirby will call off the dog after Dejan's third touchdown. And honestly, I'm not opposed to seeing Dejan break out. I think it's due. Him and McIntosh should, in my opinion, should get the bulk of this. There's no reason to sit here and just try to bully these guys for 4 quarters with Zeus and Cook, risking injury, things like that, especially after what we saw last week. I know it's at Neyland, but nonetheless, let these guys get some experience and reps. Obviously, I'd love to see Kendall Milton in this game, but at the same time, I want to see him come back fully healthy because I'm telling you now, you'll need it in the SEC championship game. He'll be a stud in that game, in my opinion. At least my hopes and anticipation is telling me so. But do want to talk a little bit about recruiting, though. There's some, obviously if you keep up at 24/7 or whatever, there's a name that Georgia fans might have forgotten about that's in this class that might be looking at a possible flip. You look at Tyree West, that being the name. There's been a lot of rumors. Crystal balls are telling you, that he could be flipping to Florida State. I mean, him being in Tift County, South Georgia, isn't too far of a stretch. It's really not too far of a stretch. But at the same time, you look at this Kirby and what's going on, especially and Trey Scott for that matter, with what's going to happen. However, you do start to question is this an attrition type move if it were to happen? If he were to decommit from Georgia, flip to Florida State, as you see the crystal balls talking, is it an attrition? Is it a processing type move where you get somebody out and then you put somebody else back in? Look, there's not a lot up there. I mean, there are some options, but at the same time, I think you do look at other guys. There's a couple names there. I think that Georgia fans might need to understand that might be there. You just made the top 5 for Marvin Jones Jr. You look at a guy like Sean Washington coming in on an official this weekend. And then you look at a guy like Hero Canoe is another great one. Great name from Germany. All these guys could possibly be this if this were to happen. You're listening to me. I'm telling you right now, it hasn't happened that I've seen yet. So I'm just speculating what if here, right? So don't get my words twisted. But definitely kind of keep an eye on these things because it does make a difference, right? And what does it say to see a guy like Dare Smith stick around? Or, if we were to lose Tyree West, how does that impact the recruiting class? Honestly, I think you could. I'm obviously not discrediting the kid, but I'm telling you, Kirby and Trey Scott would find somebody to replace him, and ultimately, you wouldn't realize that he would be gone. You could. I'm not saying I may be wrong about that, but that's just my thoughts. If he was to decommit, and I think Trey Scott's going to pick his pick of the litter if you want to choose, and I think it becomes who wants in the fastest because spots are going to start closing very fast. That's all I'm going to say. Tanil jumping in the brigade, calling 56-3, giving them the benefit of a field goal. Tanil, impressive. Jermaine says, hate it, Tanil. We got a Twitch. Jacob, do you like Liverpool? Referring to the soccer team. Liverpool is not bad. To me, if I have to watch soccer, I know we're kind of transitioning off of Georgia, but I'm all right with it. Look, I like Manchester U based off of really being able to watch Premier League, but ultimately I do like Real Madrid. Even without Ronaldo, I still kind of like him too. Obviously, so we're looking at. I think he's thinking we're football. So if transition into, the actual game of soccer, I do like Man U and Real Madrid. Jermaine King thinks that Georgia lost a little interest because they're looking at someone higher ranked. Honestly, this is where, Jermaine, I don't know if you want to look at rankings in this regard. I look at scheme fit. Georgia's in a situation now where you don't have to go for 5 stars and things like that. Go for guys that fit your system and what you want. Looking at Tyree West, I think he would fit in like a 3-tech, or an end. So get you another guy that fits what he would be losing at that point. So in my opinion, there, you look at guys like Sean Washington, right? Sean Washington is a little bit bigger than him from a measurable standpoint. Now, ranking wise, he's down, but just because he's a top 100 player, sometimes these lower ranked guys, and we know this from firsthand, right? Some of these guys that are lower ranked, the rankings don't matter to them, right? Ultimately, you see guys like Jordan Davis that comes up from a 3-star and just annihilates people, all-American type season right now, more likely first-round pick. So, yeah, there is that chance that you do see somebody higher ranked. But me, if Tyree West were to leave, if I'm Trey Scott and I'm Kirby Smart, I'm thinking scheme fit. What fits my team? Because right now it doesn't matter if you're a 5-star, 4-star, whatever. I just look at it that way. I think you find the scheme fit. So we're seeing some actual soccer talk. Patrick Oliver, Liverpool would wreck Georgia. I think Jacob is talking about soccer, Patrick, not the Georgia program here. There's actually Georgia, like the actual country or other teams named the Georgia Bulls in soccer. So I think that's what he's referring to. Jacob, we're talking American football, not soccer, buddy. I know exactly what you're talking about. Follow it enough. But nonetheless, that'd be interesting though. But nonetheless, I think looking at Tanil, Tanil also brings up a good point. If you're watching, hit that like button, guys. This does a lot for the show. Takes a second, completely free. Obviously, we do a live portion and it goes to the podcast, but like this so we can get it out to everybody else. More people means more interactions means more discussions. And that's what we live for, right, guys? That's what we do. But nonetheless, you look at recruiting right now. Obviously, we talk about Tyree West potentially. But, I think you start looking at early signing day since it's coming up soon. Early signing day is going to be interesting for me because right now you're looking at a situation where Georgia's at 22 commits currently. You're possibly going to be probably getting maybe 28, 29, maybe because of the new rule. So you're looking at 7 spots, but there's a ton of names out there. So it's just like putting 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, guys. All of it ain't going to fit. And right now, I think you're going to see guys rushing to get in or claim a silent commitment and then announce at a later time, which you start to see that happen. Guys will sign on early signing day and, commit to the school, but then announce it later, like an All-American game, things like that. That's becoming more common since we started to see the early signing day take place. I think you're going to see that, right? So if we're keeping the 22, let me see here. If I can take a second to get these up, I think looking at the recruiting class, some names that I think will fall into this category and be a dog by the end of the day. Obviously, you look at guys like Jaheim Singletary. I think he's a dog. It's just my opinion. I think he's going to be a dog. Kamari Wilson, another one, going to be a dog, right? There's just so much. Maybe Shamar James, right? Shamar James has got this got this Alabama, Georgia going on right now since decommitting from Florida. Yeah, there's a good chance that he could be a dog too. And do we look at another receiver, right? Since we missed out on Burden, does Georgia look for another receiver? Possibly. I like what Cole Spear brings to the table. If you've never heard of that name, go look him up. I tell you, watch some tape. Kid's a baller. Don't worry about his star ranking. Kid's a baller. So, looking at that right there, I think it's going to be telling to see how this plays out by all means. It's just going to be interesting nonetheless, right? And with that, though, Like you take into context, like, does Georgia, I think Kirby Smart will save a spot or two for, the transfer portal, or I think you see him give a scholarship to a kid that's already on the team. I think Dan Jackson would be a perfect candidate for a scholarship. He's deserved it. He's deserving of it. He's earned that by his play ever since the Clemson game. So, that's why I said, obviously you could look up to 32. I think you take 28, 29 commits and save a spot or two, like I said, for the portal. Right now it's so hit and miss because there's just so much going on with the portal, with all these coaching changes waiting to happen. LSU job, LSU, Washington, TCU, things still looking, VTech, and USC, right? Those are huge jobs that are open. And honestly, the coaching search is still going for those. So those pieces right there, once the dominoes get set, then you can see that being the tipping point and starting of the domino effect, not just from a coaching standpoint, but how it impacts recruiting as well. So at that point, what happens? You can see, depending on the situation, you never know. This is how crazy recruiting is, and I love it. One coach gets in there, and next thing you know, kids start to decommit and they look elsewhere. Georgia take advantage, possibly. Depends on who it is, right? So with that being said, I think there is a chance that, you see a couple guys commit or whatever. But, obviously the National Signing Day, the traditional one in February, you could see a lot of guys commit there to make sure that they have the time to go take their visits, since the extended dead period kind of has a impact, still ongoing impact for that matter, for these recruiting classes. So maybe you see a few guys come back, right, and not go on early signing day and sign, more so to wait until February. I think Jordan James has mentioned about committing or signing in February. But then you start to wonder, and there's always going to be questions. And you look at it, and you look at guys like perfect example, not last year, Cedric Von Prom, right? Some depending on how his school was, he had to wait, and that's okay. But there's always questions like, will they flip somewhere else? That's why we wait. That's why we watch and keep up with recruiting, right? Just gonna leave that there. Green Soldiers hopping in. Well, actually, I'll go Patrick. Patrick, I did not give JD off. I did not give JD 12 the day off. He might be and he might not. Look, I'd love to. It's coming up on Thanksgiving, guys. It's coming up on Thanksgiving. I'm telling you right now, I might gain 5 pounds, but that's for another day. That's for another conversation. Green Soldier hopping in saying that the UGA will take advantage of any lost ground with a program, i.e. USC. And that's what recruiting does for you. Having that killer mentality, and you see it with Kirby. Obviously, yesterday, guys, we played the leaked audio. That doesn't apply just for on the field. That's recruiting. He's a tenacious recruiter. So looking at that right there, to me, that makes perfect sense to see that. I think Georgia would try to hop on, depending on who it is. Definitely would do that. Green Soldier also says that Bama does the same thing. If the Riley stuff is true, talking about Lincoln Riley, talent-wise, Riley pulls 7 to 8 guys to LSU with him, and then Georgia Bama start to get more of the transfer portal. Depending on the case there, and if you're not familiar with it, there's been rumors swirling around Lincoln Riley and potentially an LSU job contract offer. I want to say it was like 8 years, $96 million. How true it is, I don't know, guys. I cover the Georgia Bulldogs, as you see on the bottom there. Try to stick around a little bit on the SEC. I think if that's true and he were to leave, though, I definitely think it would be interesting to see what happens at LSU, because in my opinion, I think Caleb Williams would go too, because Lincoln Riley has been proven to deal with the quarterback situation. I think they have a great relationship. You could see Caleb Williams at LSU, perhaps, right? And if that happens, then you're looking at some crazy shit going on, because what happens to their quarterback that they've got recruited for 2022, who knows? But I definitely think you start to see the transfer portal at LSU. There's a couple guys that I would love to, or maybe I'm going to say one, for example, B.J. Ojulari. B.J. Ojulari. Kid's a damn animal. And he has somebody familiar. If you're not familiar with that last name, I think you need to look up through Georgia a couple years back, if not last year. So keep that in mind. But Green Soldier also talking about Oklahoma still. Oklahoma isn't Oklahoma without Riley unless they have Stoops come in. And look, if they do that, then I just think Oklahoma is a program that the brand has gotten it to where a big time coach will come in there, and you might see some changes fundamentally in regards to like what your perception is of that program. I still think they're going to be very competitive in the Big 12/SEC whenever they come in, if they still come in. They're going to be Oklahoma. It just might be a different perception on, what we think about them, right? I think it would be interesting to see the perception change of Oklahoma from an offensive powerhouse and a Big 12 defense into a solid, like elite defense. I would love to see that kind of philosophy change of the perception of Oklahoma. That's just me. Joel Sanders, if Juan, if you're listening, Joel Sanders is telling me that you're at home eating your Tic Tacs. If that's the case, let me know. Just saying. But no, looking at that right there, obviously the coaching search is huge right now, right? Obviously the rumor talking about that, right? With LSU and Lincoln Riley, Manny Diaz might be on the way out at Miami. What potential could that have? Right? What could that mean? There's a potential for Cristobal taking a Miami job. How interesting would that be if that were the case? Lane Kiffin has been talking, or his name's been brought up, I should say, to Miami potentially. I think it's Cristobal and then Miami, or Lane Kiffin for Miami. My fault. So there's a lot of big names going around, and this is what happens when you get big time, notable, prestigious universities with head coaching positions open or potentially opening, right? The domino effect is big time this year. Already got at USC and LSU. Those right there are two big, huge pieces of dominoes, right? There's the puzzle really that could just create ultimate chaos. Ultimate chaos. That's all I'm going to say there. So what happens, right? You look at assistants, you look at Dan Lanning, right? I hate to say this. I love Dan Lanning as a defensive coordinator, but Kirby's established defensive coordinators and has a track record for success with under his tree, right? Obviously Mel Tucker at Michigan State, I want to say $95 million extension, I think it was. Big time, huge investment for Michigan State. And I love that move for Mel Tucker. I am super happy for him. Obviously coming from Saban / Kirby tree. Just saying. Extremely excited for him. And I think you might see some crazy shit go on. I'd love to see them beat Ohio State. Will it happen? Maybe. It was worth a shot to see it. But I think Mel Tucker's going to make Michigan State a competitive foe week in or year in and year out, so long as he is at Michigan State, in my opinion. Dude is a ridiculous recruiter. So, that's all it says isn't enough. And he's great at producing too. Looking at some people popping in, to Neil talking about Jermaine resentment surrounds the OU program. Fair enough. Hey, Christy, how are you? See, Christy just popping in saying, go Dogs. Go Dogs. Jermaine King sounds like the perfect time for them to join the league. There you go. Oh, good God. Going back to another prediction here. Facebook user. Georgia 143. Charleston Southern nothing. Let's be honest. Is that why Vegas doesn't want to put a number on it? Could it be? Who knows? Georgia, you never know. The point differential is about to be ridiculous. It's about to be insane. But looking around the carousel, right? Obviously there's so much stuff that can be brought on by that. But I'm telling you, the coaching changes, you can see recruiting impact. You look at teams, a perfect example of Florida. What's going on at Florida right now? For Florida fans, I feel bad for them, because Florida as a state of a program, they are way down, and it's because recruiting. This is why recruiting matters, period. Recruiting matters. When you don't recruit, you have 2 commits or 3 decommits between 2 classes, 2 of them going to your arch rival. And you're not replacing them that I'm aware of right now. So, if I'm telling you right now, and I'll keep saying this, I will keep saying this. If Florida were to let go of Mullen and they were to bring in somebody with a tenacious recruiting mentality, I myself would be nervous because the Florida logo can kind of recruit itself. You're in a recruiting fertile ground for recruiting, and you're not doing anything about it right now so long as Mullen's there. Bring in a recruiter, lock down the state for what it's worth. That makes me nervous. That makes me nervous. Let's see. Green Soldier asked me why. With all the stuff they said about Mullen being smarter than, hey, look, that's not my fault. That's their dumbass fault, right? I'm not calling every Florida fan a dumbass, by the way. Keep that in mind. Because there are some legitimate ones I talk to that understand the realism, right? They're realists, if you want to say. Facebook user says we might get Isaiah Bond from them. I'm telling you right now, I would like to see that because Isaiah Bond's a dude, all right? And obviously, we have a connection to Buford with Juan and his son. But I'm telling you right now, watching that, I would take Bond if he. Honestly, in my opinion, though, I would have rather had Andre Green. But to me, I think that was too far of a fight to be a part of. I know we were top 3, but you could just see it was going to be a Clemson, Carolina. That's just what it is. It's just what it is. Facebook user also saying 102-meter champ. Yeah, speed, right? Speed. Green Soldier says he does not have sympathy, and true. I have good UF fans as my guys. Yeah, I mean I don't have sympathy for him because look, if you're down, that means we're on top. It's just the way that shit goes. But everybody knows a cocktail party means more when both teams are good, right? That's just my common knowledge for me. Maybe there's some commits coming up, but at the same time, you might have some decommits. Get ready for a turbulent month in recruiting, guys. Get ready for it. You hear it now. Prepare yourself. You might see a decommit or 2. You might see commitment or few. It's just what it's going to be. There's going to be some ups. There's going to be some downs. Trust in Kirby Smart. That's all I'm going to say. Just trust in Kirby Smart. But also remember this, guys. This is the last game at Sanford Stadium this year, which translates to Senior Day. And this is a perfect way to end the podcast portion of this. Talk a little bit about Senior Day and in my opinion, what it means for these guys, right? What does it mean for these guys that last year could have left, but they came back? Vanderbilt, being their bitch ass, canceled it, right? Canceled the game. Seniors didn't get a chance to walk, do nothing like that for Senior Day. I'm telling you right now, I think these guys have a grudge, which could translate into playing with more emotion than you would expect, even if it is Charleston Southern. 143-0. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, Kirby will probably be hyped up for these guys and be more excited for these guys. It would not put it past me to see every single senior, whether it's walk-on or not, takes a snap at least, because it means something to these guys. It just means something. Obviously, losing it last year makes it that much more important. And I think those seniors that stuck around this year and the seniors, right, just in general, there's a ton of them with the super senior rule. They deserve the chance to go out there tomorrow. And I'm glad they're getting this opportunity. They deserve it. One of the winningest classes, senior classes in Georgia history. I'm just saying. And to this point here, Jermaine brings up a perfect example, and I would love to see this. I would love to see it too. It's a great idea. He says that Kirby should invite last season seniors back and let them also have their senior day. I think the brigade, along with myself and everyone in Dog Nation, loves that idea. I think it needs to happen. Maybe they do that. Honestly, I hope they do. I hope they do, because those guys earned it. They deserve it. and it was taken away from them. So, in my opinion, I think that's a brilliant idea, Jermaine. But look, obviously, you're going to see guys like Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis, James Cooks, Zamir White going to be gone. Obviously, a ton of other guys and seniors, things like that. There's too much to really name if I choose to do it. I understand what we're seeing right now and what these guys brought and the legacy that they established for each of them. They took it and they put a chip on their shoulder this year. And to me, I loved watching these guys. I loved watching them when they come on, when they committed. Everybody remembers Quay Walker's hat toss. I don't think by the way, I don't think his hat ever hit the ground. I have yet to hear anything about where it landed. I don't think they found it. Obviously, Jordan Davis, who really thought about Jordan Davis being where he is right now? So it's just a bunch of different things. And honestly, the culmination into tomorrow, to me, even as a fan, I think it can get emotional because you've watched these guys, come up from as freshmen, as recruits, and then you see that last year these guys got it taken away from them. So to me, that cancel from Vandy adds a little bit of extra emotion to it. It's more bittersweet now that you start to see that it is coming to reality. It's a good feeling. So obviously, shout out to all the seniors for Senior Day tomorrow. We loved having you here at Georgia. Obviously, playing it in Sanford Stadium. There's still work to do. But for your last game, obviously, Dog Nation loves you, respect you. Always, once a dog, always a dog. And on that note, though, guys, look, tune in tomorrow, ESPN Plus, I think it is. You can find the show noon kickoff. Charleston Southern comes up to Athens to play the Dogs. I've got 63-0. Brigade has their own. And look, it's going to be ugly. Look, prepare for JT Daniels. Prepare for Brock Vandegrift, maybe. I want to see Carson Beck, too. Prepare for all that big-time senior day. If you're going to the game, show up, show out, be loud, cheer on the Dogs. One last time in Athens for the season. On that note, guys, for the DGD podcast, make sure to check out dgdpodcast.com. You can find out where to watch, how to listen, available on all your podcast platforms. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and Daily Motion as well if you have that. But on that note, though, guys, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay tuned on the website for the schedule for next week. With Thanksgiving, it's going to kind of throw things up in the loop for a little bit, so we will iron that out. And as soon as we get the schedule confirmed, check out the website. It's straight dgdpodcast.com. You'll see the website. You'll see the time and date for next week's show. With that being said, enjoy your last game, I should say, at Sanford Stadium. Go Dogs.
This is the DGD podcast. Go Dogs.
We are back. You knew damn well to stick around for this. You knew it. It's Q&A, guys. Reading comments time. All right, it's Friday. Dog Nation, tomorrow we ride. All right, it's time to go kick some Buccaneer ass. That's all I'm gonna say. No remorse, no pity. All right, no pity for nobody. None. Talking to Juan right now. See if he's. Let's see here. Let's take some comments, shall we? Jay Shipes, welcome, sir. Go Dogs and free JT. Oh, you know that's coming. Y'all know damn well that's coming. Just saying. Y'all know that's still coming. All right? Y'all know it. Jermaine, yes. Jermaine, yes. I'm going to keep that damn thing up. Hold on. Bear with me, dog. We that's sticking around. I'm keeping that up right there for a while. That's honestly, I'm telling you right now, I pictured that in my head when I saw that and I heard it in my head. I'm excited. I'm ready to run through a damn wall right now. I don't even have to hear it. Now hold on. Fuck that. We playing it. Hold on. We playing it. I'm gonna play it right now. Keep it up. All right, guys. You ready? Brigade, are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go.
I still remember like yesterday walking out of this bitch at the half. The look and the feeling I had, looking at Tyson, looking at Stokes, looking at those guys. You know what, guys? This is our fucking year. This is our fucking year. We do it how we play. It's 0 to fucking 0, and you make them never want to play again. All that shit they're talking, I love it, Jamar. You didn't say shit. You don't say shit to them. You just laugh and point at the scoreboard. Let me get a picture, JD, pointing at the fucking scoreboard. Don't say shit to their undisciplined ass, because we are disciplined. And our ass still don't take the fucking shit out of them. Physically, I want to break them. I'm talking about fucking break these bitches on defense and offense. Let's go, defense.
I'm telling you right now. Getting hyped. Coach, put me out there. Coach Smart, I'm going to let you know right now. I hope you're watching this. I hope you're watching this, because tell me right now, you tell me when, Coach, I'll travel my happy ass down there. I'll put on the helmet for you. I'll put on the pads for you. You put me on special teams. I'll run down the field as fast as I can. I'll run through it. Oh, you tell me to run through a brick wall? Got you. Send them more fam. Put me on scholarship for one day. Honorary scholarship. I'll go out there and play. I'll play for you. I think everybody else would too. Facebook user, I guess you're talking about this audio would come back to bite us. I'll tell you right now, so far, nope. Kirby's got the culture set up to a point where I don't see this happening. It won't get to a point like that where we're undisciplined. I don't see it. Kirby would nip it in the bud before it even – I don't even think it's a thought. The recruits, or not even recruits, but the younger kids will police themselves to the point where that will not happen. Let's see. Jermaine King wanted Kirby to say, give them nothing and take from them everything. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, Kirby's playing for history. And that defense, I'm telling you right now, I think through 11, I want to say, 6.9 points per game through 10 games. It's fucking crazy to hear that. Absolutely not, though. Absolutely not. I'm telling you right now, though, that leaked audio, guys, keep this in mind. That leaked audio, Chris Milton, current players, it doesn't matter. If you can't handle that, if you can't handle a little bit of cussing from a head coach, get out of here. You're not built for this. You're just not. You foul language? Football's not for you. That's just the way. That's just the way of the land when it comes to college football and really football for anything in that matter. Some of that's right there, man. I've heard worse. Just saying. But to me, I would not be surprised to hear that be played from a recruit or to a recruit, and then look at him like, I want to play for you. That right there, the passion and emotion. I know we talked about it yesterday on the show. If y'all were in here, look, it doesn't matter, guys. That right there, you see the emotion. And if I have a head coach, I want them to be emotional. I want them to have that kind of passion. That makes me inspired. It inspires people. It moves people. Parents aren't mad about it. The people that might matter the most, the parents of recruits, if it's going to hurt you in recruiting, why would Chris Milton say, I'm all for it? Bear Alexander, that's my coach. They love it. They love it. Yes, I did, Jay. It was funny as shit, by the way, to me. At least it was funny. That was funny to me. I watched it yesterday. Okay, so Green Soldier calls out 7.6 PPG against Georgia. 17 is the most scored on this defense. When we shut out Charleston Southern, then it'll plummet again. Yes. That's all I'm going to say. Yes. That's it. Yes. If you get a shutout, it's going to be interesting, right? I think the point differential is going to just skyrocket. And let's be honest, there is a potential, guys. There's potential for 2 back-to-back shutouts to end the season, the regular season. And could you imagine if we shut out both teams? That's fucking insane. It's insane. I don't even know. I think it's like 69 points we've given up, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, if you gave up 69, right, 69 divided by 12, Let's see. Okay. If you shut out both teams in the season, if my math is correct, that's 5.7 points a damn game. If I'm not mistaken, we've given up 69 points. So if I'm wrong, please correct me so I can do my math to adjust it. That's historic numbers. Historic. Because y'all remember we haven't played nobody either. Remember? We haven't played nobody. Anybody tell me that? Get the fuck out of here, man. Get out of here. Period. Get out of here. Moving on. Can you imagine if we shut out Alabama? I can't imagine it because I don't see it happening. But if we did, it'd be beautiful. It'd be beautiful. We'd still haven't played anybody, though. Keep that in mind. But, yeah. Patrick says the last two games, 120-0 combined score. God damn. I mean, it's crazy to think this. It's crazy to think about the two games shutout we had with Arkansas and Vandy. Period. Right? It's just the way I look at it. Like, we've already had a back-to-back shutout. If we have, for some reason, two back – just imagine a team with back-to-back shutouts twice in a season. That's insane. It's insane. Texas A&M bullied Alabama. Look, Alabama still got cracks a little bit, but I think from what we've seen, the linebacking's suspect a little bit, especially from the standard that I'm used to seeing with Alabama. It's going to be interesting because they're going to play up. Like A&M, they saw a god-like performance from Calzada, and let's be honest, Calzada is kind of middle of the tier kind of SEC quarterback at most. Just inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get from him. That's just me. I know they bullied him, but it also took a little bit of luck. And let's be honest, that field goal, I swear to God, the midnight yell probably put a curse on that ball in favor of A&M or something, because I don't see how that happened. I just really don't see how that ball moved back to the right that much and with that short of a distance. That just surprised the shit out of me, but it is what it is. Patrick Oliver, weakest undefeated team in college football. Don't remember who said that, but it was hilarious. I don't know who said it, but they're a goddamn liar. That's all I'm going to say. All I'm going to say, they're a damn liar. So just going to leave that there. With the brigade. Oh, hold on. Heard it from some comment stores. Okay. A couple weeks ago, talking about Georgia, he was a pro-Bama guy. You're going to get that. Yeah, Stacy, a Bama guy, right? Stacy, I know Stacy been talking about commentator. Patrick talks about commentator. Just keep in mind that Alabama outgained A&M 522-379. Like I said, it took a little bit of luck, man. Just saying. So, sometimes this is why you play the game, right? Because those numbers on paper tells me a different score, different result for that matter from what Stacey told me. So that's just what I saw, right? Look, I don't care what anyone says, and being as real as I can, Georgia Bama is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. So I'm going to say. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Stacey. I don't know if you call it bullying. That's not bullying. Like, bullying is like what we did to Arkansas. Like, that's top 8, like 8 in the country, I think, or 11 in the country. And just to shut them out, like 37-0. That's bullying right there. Or what we did to Vanderbilt, 62-0. Like, that's bullying. A close loss. I don't think you call bullying unless you watch the game and you see guys get manhandled or something. Well, they bullied the O-line. Maybe. But still, it was too close of a score to do that. Maybe, look at Georgia's offensive line. Georgia's offensive line, interior of it, right? It's kind of questionable to me. But, you still, it's still serviceable. Literally outside of A&M, though, you look around and Bama's doing exactly what they're supposed to do to basically everybody. The Florida situation, the Florida game, starting to raise some questions, but at the same time, more victories matter for people in Gainesville. So I think Bama and Georgia fans will understand that that's a true statement. But look, UGA Bama will be epic. It will be. I think you look at Bama's got to win the West, but I don't see it being an issue right now. So I know it's not confirmed, but I'm telling you right now, I think they're going to manhandle Arkansas, and then they'll win the West. That's just how that's going to play out. So with that being said, looking at Georgia Bama SEC championship game, I think it'll be the telltale sign here. And Stacey, please correct me. Looking for what about now? Can you hear me now? Are we good? We good? I think we're good now. I don't know what the hell happened, but shit happens, I guess. Gotta love it. All right, look at that. I'm back. God damn it. Love it. But no, to Stacey's point, though, I tell you, in my opinion, though, look at what, I think the big Bama's going to score. And honestly, I think you see them more than 17. I think they're going to score more than 17. Now, the question, in my opinion, do you score more than 21? I think it's all about the matter of the offensive line and how it holds up. And, Bama did lose a lot of seniority and experience on the offensive line with losing Dickerson and all those guys, Leatherwood, all those guys. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be interesting. If they can handle themselves and sustain the pressure, right? Give Bryce at least 2 seconds. I think Bama has a good shot to score more points. Can Brian Robinson, can he run consistently on this defense? Because I know you're going to give him the ball. I know it's coming. And you're going to give up play. You're going to give up yards. Georgia's going to give up yards in the SEC championship game to Brian Robinson. But if for some reason you cannot establish the run game and do it successful, it's going to get tricky. That's when it's going to get interesting. So Stacey says that if Bama Georgia game is played and the score stays in the 20s, it'll be tough for Bama to win. If it gets over that, UGA will be in trouble. I see the logic, Stace, but my question, or not really a question, but to me, I think with the situation at hand, I think Georgia has enough balance to be able to move the ball, sustain drives, things like that, and score. Not saying that Bama's going to pose a huge threat to stopping us from doing that, because they will. But I think, in my opinion, I don't know who they got who they've got lined up in regards to. Are you seeing Stetson play? Are you seeing JT play in the SEC championship game? Looking at Stetson, though, man, he has that athleticism that you have to respect. He's not the fastest quarterback, right? He's not that fast, but he is mobile enough and athletic enough to make you have to respect it. And honestly, there's a couple plays where he's going to pull it, but it's a matter of, when he catches you doing it, right? He's going to catch you sleeping, and he's going to pull it, and you'll never know it, and he's gone, and pull a first down out and sustain that drive. It'll be interesting, right? But JT can sit there and just beat you in the pass game, but You don't have the mobility that you do with Stetson. So who fucking knows at this point? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see here. Tennille, have a great weekend. Let's see. Stacy, fun fact. Bama and Georgia are the only two teams in the top 5 in regards to offensive and defensive efficiency. Yeah. It's funny, ain't it? Yep. That's about right. Facebook user says that Utah will beat Oregon to knock them out of the playoffs. Hold on. I got to go back up because I did see somebody's playoff predictions, and I want to talk about that. Let's see here. Where was it? Here it is. So Facebook user called out UGA, Ohio State, Oklahoma State, and Cincy. I give you Georgia. I give you Ohio State. I have to question Oklahoma State and Cincy. The reason why I say that is this. Cincinnati, if they have a great chance of getting upset by SMU this week, and Oklahoma State could win out, but do you jump Notre Dame with the non-conference championship? That, to me, that's the question. Because you look at Michigan and Ohio State will have to play. Ohio State and Michigan State will play. So those three kind of wear themselves out and tell themselves out. But I have Ohio State pulling off the win against Michigan State. Do not sleep on Michigan beating Ohio State. The defense is really good. Michigan's defense is really good, really good. If McNamara can score, if they can move the ball, Michigan can move the ball, perhaps run the ball effectively against Ohio State's defense, because their run defense is not great in my opinion for what a typical Ohio State defense is. Michigan is your best threat to beat Ohio State, and if that happens, then you have to take Michigan in, right? If you had to put a gun to my head, I might just be crazy enough to say give me Michigan, but at the same time, I'm also probably regretting my decision because Harbaugh will hardball if you're not careful. So you have to watch out for that. Stacy, but yeah, Georgia would run through those teams like shit on the tin horn. Absolutely. Period. I guess you could say more aggressive approach. Patrick saying that playoff predictions, Georgia, and who the fuck cares after that? I think we can beat anyone. We can. I still think, I'm telling you right now, we still got to get through Bama in the SEC championship game. Stacy, since you're here, do you see a possibility of Bama getting in if it's close loss with 2 losses? Do you see a 2-loss Bama team in the playoffs? Do you see it? While we wait, I'm going to read more comments. I want Stacy to answer that question if he's still here. Michigan stands a great chance to beat Ohio State for 3 reasons. How they score, line of scrimmage, and the D-line play. The line play for Michigan is better, and rivalry games should be in the big house. Yeah. Ohio State has Michigan and Michigan State in their last 2. If they lose one, yeah. Patrick, you're not wrong. I'm telling you, I think Michigan's a better chance to lose, or Michigan is the better game for them to lose, or possibility. I love what Michigan State is, but I'm telling you. Yeah, so Stacy thinks it's not likely, but it is possible. Dude, with how crazy this year's been, who knows? Who really knows at this point? Look, y'all are at 2, and if it's a 3-point loss, I still think you come in at like 3 or 4, because there's no question that and I understand the 2 losses, but a 2-loss Alabama team is still better than almost anybody else in the fucking country. You can be undefeated at that matter. I just don't care about it. I'm just saying. I think if it's like a 3-point loss to Georgia, I'm telling you, you might see them fall to, I wouldn't say 4 because it would be a rematch, but 3. Put Ohio State, if they went out at 2. Bama 3. No, I know. They look at the eye test, right? At least, well, they've been very, very inconsistent. But they've been inconsistent. And that's the key there, because the initial rankings, I loved it because they looked at the eye test, which is why Oklahoma was at 8. Looking at things like that. Now, I was kind of questioning Bama at 2, but I got it. But if you play it out and it's a close game, Georgia's the number 1 team, and it's not even fucking close. So if you beat them on a field goal, or if you lose to them on a field goal, what is that saying, right? Because Georgia is that far ahead of everybody. Like, just saying. Let's see. They don't want to see a rematch between Georgia and Bama. Look, if there's the 2 best teams, so be it, right? Look at 2011, 2012. Stacey knows exactly what I'm talking about. Bama, LSU. Look, we saw the 9-6 game. It was a snooze fest, but it was a great fucking defensive game, right? Like, people want to call it that right there because of the low score. Nah, that was a damn defensive game, and everybody knows it. Full of NFL talent. Both sides of the ball. For everybody. There's just NFL talent everywhere. So the BCS getting that right for having both of those in the playoffs, in my opinion, perfect example. Like, and obviously Bama had that one 21-0, but nonetheless, like, those 2 were the best 2 teams, and it wasn't even close that year. So, yeah. Let's see. So Green Soldier says their logic is 1 versus 2. 2 should lose to 1 by 3 or less. So if Bama does lose by 3 points or less, then it justifies their placement. Maybe that's the case. I'm just saying. If people were being honest, they know that Georgia's clearly number 1, Bama's number 2. Yeah. I don't know how to say this without sounding like too much of a homer, but obviously Georgia at 1 makes too much sense. But outside of that, everybody's kind of had their cracks visibly shown, right? I mean, everybody else has had a loss already. So you can't look at wins and losses being that point. But you look at offense, right? I think that's the key. And in defense with Will Anderson, Will Anderson's a fucking animal. Everybody knows that. So, but you look at Ohio State, their defense is still suspect as fuck. And, Michigan's got a good defense, but their offense is questionable. Everyone wants to question our offense, but I'm telling you, man, we got efficient enough offense. It doesn't fucking matter with that defense we got. But, then you look at Cincinnati that's been downplaying the teams, dominated Notre Dame. Notre Dame's gotten better, things like that, right? Michigan State. Stacey, to his point, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Okay, so Jay would give the points to Arkansas this game, apparently 21. You know what, though? I think Bama covers that game. I think they cover it. I wouldn't say they covered emphatically, but they cover. Arkansas, I just don't know. I love what Sam Pittman's done, but they fell off after they played us. I don't know if it was because they lost momentum or whatnot, but I'm just saying. Ohio State got a big-time receiver back, and it showed. If you're talking about Olave and Harris, I think it is. Chris Harris. They would want to see a Bama-Georgia rematch in the national title if it was close in Atlanta. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I'll tell you what, though. In all honesty, I really want to see representation. I want to see Oregon win out, honestly, because I want college football to be a national thing that everybody cares for. Because let's be honest, if everybody, when you look at the previous 4, and this is no shock on anybody else, when you had Bama, Clemson, Ohio State, you had 2 regions covered. The whole West Coast was left out. You had the Midwest with Oklahoma. Georgia still kept it 2. Put in, if Oregon wins out, give them that playoff spot. The West Coast has something to look at. I don't know if you see the West Coast hop over, like California and whatnot. Like, I'm telling you right now, if USC made it to the playoffs, you talk about some viewership. Yep, that'd be interesting. That would be interesting. Ohio State did look legit against Akron, didn't they? Yeah, Oklahoma, Texas. The Green Soldier got a perfect point. This is a start to this. Get the parity, but they've shown with their placement. Bama at 2 if they want them in. Yeah, I mean, look, Jay mentions the West Coast being weak. Look, for what it's worth, yes, but I don't see if all USC has to do is get the right guy. It's easier said than done by all means, but if they get the right guy, it won't matter. It won't matter. I know this sounds shitty. but I don't feel bad for the regions the South is good at football because no, absolutely. I mean, hell, you look at the SEC, it just means more. We're living it. We're living, breathing examples of what that statement is and what it means. So yeah, I don't feel bad for them, but I mean, I just prefer to get more global because it's just always fun. What I mean, is it going to matter? No, because Oregon would get boat raced by Bama or Georgia, but still. Yeah, and you talk about the attendance. Yeah, dude, I saw pictures of USC, the Coliseum, prior to kickoff, and it was fucking sad. It was sad. It was absolutely sad to see how just deserted that place was. You gotta do better, man. You gotta do better. Like places like USC, in my opinion, college football is better when places like USC are better, if that makes sense. Now, when Texas was elite, right? Look back into the mid 2000s, right? Everybody remembers that national title, the BCS game against Texas USC. That was one of the best college games you've ever watched, I've ever seen, and I'm sure in history that's probably one of the best ones. And it's crazy because college football was so fun back then. But now you look at it, like it's definitely turned into a region thing because the South, the SEC in specific, has just shown their willingness to invest in the football. So that's just my knowledge on it. But, I mean, am I wrong? Fuck, who knows? Who cares? But it just shows with SEC champion or SEC winning championships. So sure, not throwing shade at all because they're clearly the best team, but who had Tennessee being the best team they played regular season? That was crazy to me. Because that just shows you how weird of a season it was too. Because I mean, I had Florida finishing fourth. You know what I mean? I had them finishing fourth, and I got called stupid for that. What does everybody else know? But Kentucky before we played them, that was an interesting game. I called Kentucky to beat Florida as well. There was a couple of things where I was wrong leading up to this season. I had Mizzou finishing third. I was wrong, completely wrong on that. I had Tennessee, finishing lower than where I think they are now. I didn't expect Hypo to get this team moving so much. We'll see what happens next year, though, because teams will have film. They will adjust, things like that. So we'll see what happens. But that's just me. But, yeah, it's crazy to think that. But, I mean, at the same time, like, welcome to 2021. Maybe one or two more comments, guys, and we got to bounce for the day. Got a lot of stuff to do and get ready for tomorrow and over the weekend. So Kentucky's only issues are turnovers. Dude, they turned the ball over way too goddamn much. Way too much. That was way too much. Now, look, they had arguably the best game plan against Georgia all year. And looking at Tennessee, great. But they had a great game plan. And to be able to sustain 2 touchdown drives, that's important, especially for Stoops. I know everybody hated that call with 3 seconds to call the timeout and score. Look, that's football, guys. That's football. You played till the 0 on the clock. That's it. So he did what he had to do. And honestly, situational football. That's more important for other games. So got to take it into play there. Stacy, this is a good call. Enjoyed it. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And also talking about QB play in the SEC is down. But to me, it's kind of expected, though. And hear me out. Looking at what was lost over the season, right? You look at guys like, Bryce Young coming in and starting as a freshman. I expected him to have some struggles at times. He's still doing great, but he's going to be great. But he's kind of struggled a little bit, and that's expected, right? That's expected. Stetson and JT, in my opinion, I didn't expect Stetson to be what he's done and everything, but I'm all for it. Hendon Hooker was a surprise. I knew he was going to be all right. Didn't expect him to have those stats with Tennessee. Slovis, I kind of expected once they had a competent quarterback, be able to pass the ball. I wouldn't say it's down. I think maybe it's just misproportioned for what we expected, if that makes sense. Oh, Matt Corral's still doing Matt Corral things, but he has also had a bad look. Haynes, Kellen Mond leaving, what that opened up for A&M, right? I still think Haynes King getting injured played a big part because you don't know what we don't know what to expect with Haynes King. So you look at Calzada, and then he gets completely up and down play, right? So it's just inconsistent play there. Look, Will Rogers turned into a fucking stud, right? Like Mississippi State's doing damn good there. KJ Jefferson, I like what he's done. It's a lot of new faces. You're absolutely right. But I think you look at a testament to how crazy of a year it is, where, like I said, Tennessee throwing up 40 points and crazy ass stats like that. Basilak is kind of struggling with more so their Missouri defense, but Will Rogers throwing the ball effectively and really doing well. Matt Corral doing Matt Corral things. I mean, it's just me hit or miss there. But, I'm all for it because you see these new names, and now you have an idea of what these guys are about, especially if we play them. Now, whether they come back or who they're – and this is why recruiting is important, because now you look at teams and who they're bringing in. You see what the team's about, the schemes with new quarterbacks in there, right? See how these guys might fit the scheme for these the teams they're committed to. So look at it that way. On that note, guys, we're going to call it a day. Thanks to the brigade. Thanks, everybody, for sticking around, having a good conversation. I love these conversations. But that is all. Wherever you're watching the game from tomorrow, whether it's in Athens, whether it's at your house, at a tailgate, enjoy the game. Look, it's going to be a blowout, but enjoy it for what it's worth. And also to the Bama fan, enjoy your game. You're playing Arkansas. Obviously, take care of business, and we'll see you in Atlanta. Come back next week, and if you hop back on, Stacy, we'll say welcome to Atlanta. All right? Interesting. Okay. See the political comment. We're going to not speak on that right here. It's not political for me, but that's interesting to note. So if you see that, you see it. On that note, though, guys, go Dogs.